I'm no longer looking forward to the second movie. Ah. Generic intro into that goes moon. We're back with another theorist video, and today we are doing a film theory video, which is about Fnaf. I cannot escape this series. Fortunately enough, they uploaded this a day after I started bending the ink machine, which was last week's video. You can check out my reaction to that. I'll leave it right up there. Also, the link down below in the description. Also, be in a place on my channel with all of my other game theory videos, going in chronological order. You can binge watch all of those. There's a playlist for Minecraft theories, and there's a playlist for the Fnaf theories as well, but they're all in one playlist as well. But people were all like, ha 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 ha, they dropped this, you gotta do that. I'm like, nope, I already recorded the new one. So I started bidding ink machine theories. I'm not doing the second one because this came out. I didn't do the film theory for the Minecraft movie. I still haven't seen the trailer for the Minecraft movie, so I don't know if I'll do that or not, but I do read all your comments, leave them down below. Shout out to the patrons, because none of this would be possible was not for them. $3 a month get you all my reaction videos 8 day early, and like I said, it really would not be possible if it was not for the patrons, so shout out to them. And apparently the second FNAF movie will be nothing like the game. It depends on what game we're talking about, but I'm excited to see what Matt has to say about that, and if there's any news about the second movie, because I haven't heard anything. So let's go ahead and jump on into it. All right.
Plot for the second Five Nights at Freddy's movie is
this is the first film theory I've done without Matt.
In celebration of the franchise's 10th anniversary, Scott released 4 pages of the script.
And I could not escape the series.
Only one of them is real. The key to figuring out which one is hidden on one of these script pages, and I figured it out. I know which one it is. I'm not crazy.
The number's Mason.
You're crazy.
I might be. The series is driving me crazy. They really didn't want me to move on to bending the ink machine, which I started that last week. I knew nothing about bending the ink machine.
The show where it's my turn to count animatronic toes. Can you believe that we're almost coming up on the 1-year anniversary of the
yeah,
Fnaf
it has
movie?
been almost a year.
It's surreal after we waited for any update on that movie for so long. And well,
I think
it
did really well.
Right now is the 10-year anniversary of Five Nights at Freddy's as an entire franchise. A decade of games, books, comics, and more game theories than should have been possible.
Graphic novels.
In celebration, FNAF creator Scott
also, be on the lookout for
there's been new announcements.
There should be a Vanoss video tomorrow of him playing FNAF.
Novel, a new interview, and even a freaking crossover with Dead by Daylight.
Which is crazy.
Most importantly, and the reason we are once again talking about one of Game Theory's favorite franchises on our home channel for the second week in a row, Scott also released 4 individual pages from the script for Five Nights at Freddy's 2.
In a row out of like
sequel to the movie,
3 or 4 or 5.
There's a catch. Only one of these pages is real and is actually in the script. Only one of these pages is in the movie. Loyal theorists, this is a challenge. Scott looked at the community of overthinkers that he's gathered for FNAF and challenged
that he's
us
driven
to figure
insane.
out which one of these is actually real. And you know what, Scott? I'm not scared. I will personally take on your challenge, and I'll figure out which one of these pages is legit
just can't
and
decide.
which ones are just mimic knockoffs. And let me tell you, friends, after digging through them, comparing them to what we know about FNAF lore, and looking at these pages through the lens of the rules and etiquette of screenplays, I did it. I know which one of them is real, and it tells us so much about where the FNAF movie franchise is going. With just this one page, I believe we can map out not only the plot of FNAF 2, but also
FNAF 2.
FNAF 3.
How many movies
your
do they
animatronic
plan on
suits ready,
doing?
friends,
Is there
as
like
we take a bite
contract stuff that
so because
people
it's
are
been
like
about
under
a year
contract
since
for
the original
a certain
FNAF
amount
movie
of
hit theaters, and we all did the Leo DiCaprio pointing meme when Matt popped up, let's do a recap so we're all on the same page of where things ended up. Five Nights at Freddy's follows Mike Schmidt, a young man struggling to take care of his younger sister Abby and keep down a steady job. His parents aren't around anymore, and he has nightmares about his brother, who was kidnapped and killed when Mike was just a child. Mike gets a job as a night security guard at a local Chuck E. Cheese ripoff called Freddy Fazbear's that's been shut down for years, since several kids went missing from the building.
Is it a restaurant?
Over the course of a week, Mike meets a police officer named Vanessa and realizes that the pizzeria's animatronic mascots are haunted by the ghosts of those missing kids, and they want Abby to join them as a ghost.
I thought the movie was really good.
Oh, and also the man who gave Mike this job in the first place, William Afton, he not only was the founder of the pizzeria and creator of the animatronics, but he also murdered the kids and Mike's brother. Mike, Abby, and Vanessa team up, free the ghost kids from Afton's control, and Afton is killed by a malfunctioning animatronic springlock suit. But he warns that
I always come back.
And more or less, that's
eventually
the
place is gonna get burned to the ground, right?
We're dealing with. Let's go over them one by one. The first page has Abby talking with a new animatronic called Toy Chica. The toy animatronics are improved
Not
versions of
Fnaf.
the characters
Oh
from the original
no, the
Fnaf
puppet's gonna
introduced
be in
the
that
Fnaf
movie,
2
isn't
game.
it?
They were
It
much
better
more
not.
advanced than the original animatronics, with a facial recognition system and child protection software programmed into them that would protect kids from anyone the animatronics deemed dangerous. Back to the page,
Kinda
as
crazy
Toy
they get to
Chica
decide
and
that.
Abby are talking, Vanessa is being held in the pizzeria's storage room, forced to give out some sort of code. Toy Chica then relays that to Abby, who is typing it into a computer. Abby puts in the code, Toy Chica's eyes light up, and excitedly she says, "You did it, Abby! We are free!" If I were a betting man, this page is showing Abby being tricked by the animatronics into freeing them from some form of their child protection software, so they can move around and hurt anyone they'd like, even if they're not deemed a predator or dangerous. The second page, however, is completely different. Here we are introduced to General Everly and Captain Nelson, two completely original characters who aren't in the game. The pair have a conversation in some sort of conference room about a robotics project. Here, General Everly vents his frustration
maybe that's
that
going to be the origin?
funded Fazbear Entertainment, completely dumbfounded that they would get in bed with a pizza place. When it's pointed out that Fazbear Entertainment is way ahead on animatronic tech, Everly lashes out that this sort of technology
the government
shouldn't be
does pay
tested
pretty
on
well.
kids' entertainment, and that what Fazbear gave them wasn't animatronic tech, but instead observable effects of unobservable energy exchanges. The third page starts with a conversation between Abby and Mike about a book where a boy gets sick with a very contagious disease called scarlet fever. The boy has plushies that he loves dearly, but they have to be burned because the scarlet fever has likely attached to the plushies, making them very dangerous. Apparently, Mike and Abby are dealing with some weird plushies themselves, and Mike realizes that
it's a psychic friend
plushies are dangerous too, just like the book. They should be burned. Later, he calls up Vanessa and tells her to suit up in dark clothing because they have a job to do. Finally,
I'm pretty sure she knows how to be stealth.
An unnamed man with two kids, Darren and Gemma, as they enter an abandoned Freddy's pizzeria. Here, the man turns on a carousel and leads the kids to the center of the carousel, where there's a hidden staircase descending into the darkness below. The three of them then descend into it, their fates unknown. So, which one is real? Well,
I used to think spiral staircases are
interesting
great, and then I
bits that hint at
walked
them
on
being
one.
real, but some are less realistic than others. To start, let's tackle the one I think is least likely to be the real
general
page, the second page. This is the one where a group of army officers are talking about the animatronic tech that Fazbear Entertainment is developing.
That would be
now,
so far
there are
different
a lot of
than
fun little secrets hidden on this page. The general calls Fazbear Entertainment a circus, for instance. A circus as in it's a joke. This is a nice reference to
what
one
if
of the
it's a
talking points in
flashback?
the FNAF fan community, speculating about its origins as Fazbear's
or maybe too
traveling
specific
circus in the 1970s. But despite that, this page is clearly fake for a few reasons.
Why?
The first big reason is that this is introducing an element to the franchise that
military?
they've never used before, with the military. The strategy the FNAF movies seem to be taking is approaching the series as a whole, the games, books, whatever, throwing it all in a blender, and then shaping their story from the resulting Fazgoo. While Afton did talk to some supervising body during the opening cutscene of Sister Location, where they asked about some of his design ideas.
With all due respect, those aren't the design choices we were curious about, Mr. Afton.
Saying that this is a government entity is a stretch. Afton has never been said to have government backing in the games. It would require a lot of explanation.
And why would he need the
and we would need to spend
the business
so much
in the first
time
place?
To explore
you know
what this meant for the story.
Maybe it's for his own motives.
Frankly, it just expands
he wouldn't need the
this
funding
franchise way too far, way too quickly. We're suddenly going from one crazy guy in a pizzeria to an entirely government-funded operation. This isn't a movie 2 thing. This feels like something you do in like movie 4.
It's like the Fast and Furious
jump the
movies.
shark and go to space. Now,
Freddy's
trying to parse all of this
FNAF
lore out might feel like it's driving you crazy. I mean, I'm not crazy, right? But something that is crazy is that I did an exclusive mini-theory over on Throne Talk with the sponsor for today's episode, Game of Thrones Legends. Yeah, you heard that right. I did a mini-theory live in person at Throne Talk, which you can go watch right now along with the rest of the special presentation celebrating the new puzzle RPG, Game of Thrones Legends. It's like a pre-recorded late-night talk show, but all about the nerdy goodness of Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon, and of course, Game of Thrones Legends. Other creators of the event were the Man-at-Arms team from Ami, the Easter Egg Masters over at Screen Crush, and the Master Strategists at How to Beat, all hosted by the lovely folks over at Deerstalker Pictures. This whole opportunity was surreal, and I can't thank Game of Thrones Legends enough for making this happen. They flew me out to Northern Ireland to film at the Game of Thrones studio tour, and they shut the whole place down for us, and we got an exclusive look at one of the places where they filmed the actual show. They had real sets, real props and real costumes from the show here, and I might have gotten just a little emotional seeing them in person. I mean, the Iron Throne was right there. I also ate dinner with a White Walker, which was just so fun and weird and cool. And all of these awesome details from the show were lovingly recreated in Game of Thrones Legends, which has tons of different champions from across both Game of Thrones and House of the
still
Dragon.
Haven't seen the last
you can make a team of your favorite characters.
Me and my ex used to watch every episode together, and that was around the time she became my ex.
Daenerys and Rhaenyra. There's so much to talk about with this game that you can find out over at Throne Talk, but it is genuinely great. I've actually been pulling it out during my breaks to keep building up my fortress. I almost have Ned Stark unlocked, and I really want him for my team. If you want to learn more about Game of Thrones Legends and watch that exclusive mini-theory I made, please go to Throne Talk over on the Deerstalker Pictures YouTube channel. And remember to download Game of Thrones Legends by clicking the link in the description or scanning the QR code on screen.
So good. Also, when we get Winds of Winter. I haven't read any of the books, but it's still a meme.
A daily summon token to start out with. And hey, you might see me in the game because I can't stop playing. But anyway, thanks one last time to Game of Thrones Legends for sponsoring this episode, and let's hop back into the mystery of the Fnaf movie pages. But more importantly, this interaction happens on page 18, which means it takes place at a weird point in the movie. But to understand why, we first have to talk about movie structure. See, a movie is generally broken down into 5 parts: the cold open, acts 1 through 3, and then the resolution. It starts with the cold open, which immediately drops you into the world and acts as a hook to get you engaged with the story. In FNAF 1, this is the security guard at the start of the film getting hunted by the animatronics. Then there's Act 1, where the main characters are introduced and the conflict of the story is discovered. In FNAF, we see this with Mike losing his job and needing to take the gig at Freddy's so he can take care of Abby. Screenwriters are taught that, as a general rule of thumb, 1 page of a script is equal to about 1 minute of screen time. To be clear, this isn't written in stone. A lot of scripts are much longer than the movie's final runtime, and a lot of long movies are made from super short scripts. The minute per page idea is like the pirate code.
The code depends on how much you call guidelines, the natural rules.
Or it could be like,
enough that
was
we
it,
can use it here.
Dunkirk?
So, following
this
like
rule, so
little page 18, that means that this scene with the
movie.
military would be happening somewhere like 15 or 20 minutes into the movie, making it a scene smack dab in the middle of Act 1. That makes no sense, considering everything else that Act 1 of this movie needs to do. It needs to tell us what Mike, Abby, and Vanessa have been up to, show us their new dynamic, introduce us to the new conflict. It has a lot of heavy lifting it needs to do, so cutting away to the military drama here makes zero narrative sense.
What if the page numbers are wrong?
Or
maybe that's not part of the thing. I don't know.
The act structure also lets us eliminate another page, the first one, where Vanessa is being forced to give Toy Chica a code and Abby is typing that code into a computer. Now, the concept of this scene, Vanessa
what if it's like a flashback thing where it's like
information and Abby
1
being
week
tricked into
prior
using it to free the toy animatronics? That could absolutely be in a movie like this. It's in character and the conflict makes sense. However, the placement of the scene
25.
makes no sense.
Well,
this
I guess that'd be a
page is
little too
labeled
late
as
to do
page
the
25,
1 week prior
meaning that
thing.
it would be roughly 23 to 28 minutes into the movie. That would place it either at the middle or end of Act 1. But that's way too fast for something like this to happen, and let's go over the rest of story structure to understand why. Normally, Act 2 of a story sees the characters encountering obstacles that stop them from getting what they want or need. It's also generally the lowest point for the main character. In the first FNAF movie, this is where Mike is trying to discover the secrets of Freddy's and agrees to let the animatronics have Abby. Act 3 sees the big climax of the story where all of the conflict is resolved. Mike, Abby, and Vanessa fight Afton and get the animatronics to turn on him.
And then the resolution
finally, there's the resolution, which is a brief period of calm where a new status quo is established. Mike and Abby are living happily and visit a recovering Vanessa in the hospital. What's being described here in this page with Abby, Vanessa, and Toy Chica, it could absolutely happen in this movie.
But not on page 25.
At the end of Act 2. Much further than page 25. Think of everything that needs to happen before this
mix up the numbers?
We
I
have
don't
to get
know.
reintroduced to the main characters, meet the new toy animatronics, have the child protection software be explained, have Toy Chica build up a relationship with Abby, and Vanessa needs to be captured. That can all happen by the end of Act 2 or into Act 3. But Act 1? No way.
Yeah.
See, I really appreciate
Unless it's
this
one of
page
those
because it's really
cutbacks.
clever. The scene itself is realistic, and you do input codes into the baby animatronic in the sister location game. Abby is connected to baby, so the ideas line up, but the timeline just doesn't. So, good troll, Scott. And so, that leaves us with just 2 pages left.
So he wrote
and
up
honestly,
fake
both
scripts.
of these are pretty valid options. Just as a reminder, here,
4?
these are the pages where Abby and Mike are talking about the dangerous plushies and where an unnamed man is leading 2 kids into a hidden room below the pizzeria.
And that's
Both
page
of these pages
4.
take place at reasonable points in the movie. The Mike and Abby scene is on page 58, so roughly an hour into the movie in the middle of Act 2. That's the perfect point for this sort of story revelation and the setup for an
Also don't
action
know how
set
long the
piece
movie's
like
gonna be,
we
do we?
see on this page. Likewise, the man taking the kids into a secret room is on page 4, so right at the beginning of the movie.
Which
Again,
would be
makes
a cold
perfect
open.
sense because this is exactly the sort of scene you'd want for a cold open to
Characters
hook you
you
into the
don't know.
story. Who is this guy? What's this secret room? What's gonna happen to
unnamed.
these kids? It's good stuff. And nothing completely unrealistic or ridiculous happens on either one
Or
of
maybe
these
those
pages
kids
that
become the new
disqualifies
spirits
them, like the military
for the
page.
toy ones.
Like the cold open page is pretty standard killer luring kids into a dangerous place horror cliche, and there absolutely would be rooms hidden under an Afton pizzeria. We've seen that exact setup in other FNAF content like Sister Location and the Twisted Ones novel. As for the plushies,
So
well,
many.
weird haunted plush babies are present in the Help Wanted series, and they attack the player, so they would be dangerous in the movie. The first FNAF movie also had the Balloon Boy toy.
That was
was
terrifying.
basically a haunted, sentient
Also, that
toy,
was a
just
YouTuber
like
that
these
was in
plushies
the
would
car,
be,
right?
so there's already precedence
Well,
for this
is
in the
that,
film
what,
universe.
Corey
In
Kinchin? Is
fact,
that his
the
name?
Balloon Boy is like one of the
I
movie's
did not
biggest
know about
hanging
him
threads.
until-
They'd probably want to resolve that. And all
Until
of that's
the
without
FNAF
mentioning
movie.
that the plush babies would further the connection between Abby and Baby. Oh, and also there's Plush Trap 2, which is just straight up a plush version of the main villain that is alive and dangerous. I don't think that's what they're talking about here in the movie, but I just wanted to point it out because it's a relevant
small
detail.
is that thing?
But with
What
all of
could
that
that thing
being
do
said, there
at
is
that
one
size?
thing that gives away the answer here. In the cold open page, there's mention of a carousel. This is where the man takes
Which
the
is
children
in
and
FNAF
reveals the
2.
hidden room. But it's shown to have 7 animatronics on it. A brown bear, a blue bunny, a yellow chick, a pirate fox, a gator, a wolf, and a hippo. In the games, there are only really 2 carousels that we know of. The one in FNAF 2 and the one in Help Wanted 2. And between them, the only characters that show up on them are Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, Foxy, and Balloon Boy. Never a hippo, wolf, or alligator.
But
now,
we
that's not to say they
know-
couldn't bring
Wait,
in
who would be
other
the
FNAF
wolf?
characters to fill in those spots.
Is there a
but
wolf
it would be
character? One of the
weird
Fun
and it would
Time?
make the
No, it's not
timeline
Fun
get
Time. It's
real
the-
funky. Like the hippo is absolutely referring to Mr. Hippo, an animatronic that first appeared in FNAF 6. It doesn't really make
what-
sense for Mr. Hippo to be
what is
here
their
with the
group?
original FNAF animatronics, but I guess it's not impossible. In FNAF 3,
I mean, they
the
blend
purple
it all
mask of
up,
a
so it
character
could.
that is almost certainly Mr. Hippo shows up in the Happiest Day minigame, implying that he could exist at the same time. But the other characters, though,
Maybe.
are just much harder to justify. Now, for the Gator, I think all of our minds immediately jump to Monty Gator from Security Breach, but it is possible that this is referring to some other character, maybe? In The Man in Room 1280 story, the book's version of the Golden Freddy spirit, and
Dude, they have so much knowledge to do anything
one
with FNAF.
existed that early in at least some version of the FNAF timeline. And additionally, going back to the Happiest Day minigame, there's a green mask that could also be an alligator. But considering that the other masks, the pink pig, the purple hippo, and the orange elephant line up way more with the mediocre melodies characters, I believe
Mediocre
that this
melodies,
mask
that's
is
what they're
actually
called.
referring to the Happy Frog. The eyes on the sprite are even yellow like the circles around Happy Frog's eyes, so I wouldn't be comfortable saying that the gator on the carousel in the script page is referring to anyone else other than Monty. He's just the only one that makes sense. All that being
And
said,
it's also really
though,
popular.
the real
So
outlier
what if they just
here
took all the
is
popular
wolf.
characters?
The earliest wolf that we know of in the timeline is from the Twisted Ones, which is the book version of the FNAF 4 story, which features the Twisted Wolf animatronic.
Guys, it's
and
so long
we
to
also know
watch
that
a
there
theory
was
about
a
that.
man-wolf character on a poster in FNAF 6. But why would either of those characters be on this carousel? That's a great question, and it really doesn't make sense. No, if this wolf is any character, it's
So is
almost
it not that
certainly
one?
Roxy from Security Breach, which would also line
Yeah?
up with Monty Gator. Regardless, having Roxy
We're not jumping
and Monty
that
here
far
is
to
just
Security
weird.
Breach.
The first movie was not shy about mixing elements from various games, but something it kept very consistent was its animatronics. It didn't overcomplicate them or introduce too many. Its cast was pretty consistent with the one from the games. So why on earth would they bring in Mr. Hippo from FNAF 6 and 2 characters from Security Breach with the original FNAF animatronics? Especially
Yeah, no, that makes
given
sense.
just how much attention Scott pays to the tiniest details in his work. It just
So
doesn't
it's-
make any sense, and why I think that this page is a fake. Oh, and also one of the kids.
So which
on
one
this
do we
page
think it is? The
literally
one talking
says
about the
words,
stuffed
"This
animals?
Is a fake. So another subtle tip. out there.
This is a
Very
fake.
cheeky, Scott. Nice hint. So there you have it. That leaves us with page 3 as the one I believe is the real page from the FNAF 2 movie. But we're not done. Now that we've concluded that this one is is real, what does that tell us about the movie itself?
I don't know.
Well, the main thing that stuck out to me about
that we're
this
going to be
page,
talking
beyond
about
the fact that we're apparently getting haunted plushies or something like that, was the book
Psychic
that
Friend
Mike and
Fredbear
Abby were
has to make
talking
an
about.
appearance.
In case you need a reminder, on this page,
And we need another
Abby is
Matt
talking
Pat
about
cameo.
a book where a little boy has
And hopefully
plushies
Markiplier,
that he
too.
loves, but after he gets sick with scarlet fever, he can't keep them. The disease is just so contagious that it might attach to the plushies and spread that way, so the plushies have to be burned. She then goes on to liken the book to the dangerous plushies that the gang is currently facing. Well, if the plushies from that book were so applicable to the current situation in this FNAF story, is there anything else from the book that would also apply? Well, after some research, I was able to figure out that the book that they're talking about here is a classic known as The Velveteen Rabbit, written by Marjorie Williams. This story is told from the point of view of a plush rabbit toy given to a small boy as a Christmas present. The rabbit desperately wants to become real and is told that it's possible
is that
when
like
a child loves you for a long, long time, not just to play with, but really loves you, then you become real. Over the years, though the boy gets other toys and presents that are more modern, he grows to love
like
the
every
rabbit
kid had a
plush
toy
and
like
regards
that.
it as his favorite toy, treating it like it was a real rabbit. However, sadly, the boy
carrots.
is diagnosed with scarlet fever, a highly contagious disease. The boy takes the rabbit as he recovers,
And it
but
has
when
to
the
be
boy is
destroyed.
taken away to see other doctors, all of his possessions must be burned so that the scarlet fever has no chance to spread on his belongings. The night before the rabbit is to be burned, he reflects on the happy life he had with the boy and manages to shed a real tear. This summons a fairy that turns the rabbit into a real one for everyone to see, not just the boy, because the boy truly loved him. The next spring, the rabbit visits the boy, who is happy to see that the rabbit is real, alive.
So were they
and
not
living
able to
his
find
best
the
life
rabbit
out
that they were
in the
supposed to
wild.
burn?
I mean, guys, come on.
That I would
Just
not
on
be
the
able to
face of things, there are
be
so
at
many
ease
parallels
with that.
between this story
I know
and
there's a
FNAF.
rabbit.
First of all,
The
a
rabbit has to
story
go.
about
Where
a
is it?
rabbit that wants to become real. Well, FNAF is
It
a
has the
series
ick
all
on
about
it.
a man obsessed with a rabbit costume who wants to be reborn. He wants to make his dead daughter come back, that sort of thing. Those themes line up so perfectly that it's scary. And even if you just want to talk about the movie universe, Abby loved the animatronics. She may want to help
Things are a
them
little bit different.
become
I definitely
real by
thought
helping
she
them
was
find
going in that
peace
trap,
and
in that
move on
suit.
to
I
the
definitely thought that
afterlife.
was going to
A
happen.
darker interpretation could even focus on Mike here. We're pretty sure that his brother Garrett, who was killed by Afton in the previous movie, is going to come back in this movie as the puppet. Perhaps Mike will have a similar moment here like the boy and the stuffed rabbit, except in reverse.
Well,
he may see the toy that resembles his real brother and be sad that it's trapped and try to work to
I'm
free
no longer
Garrett.
looking forward to the second
biggest
movie.
thing here is the use of fire in the Velveteen Rabbit. A parallel for the dangerous and contagious scarlet fever from the book in the FNAF universe may be Remnant. And one of the ways that the game says that you can destroy Remnant is
by
through
burning
the
it,
use of
which
fire.
is why
Just
they
like
always
how
get
rabbit
burned
is
down.
Set to be burned to get rid of any traces of scarlet fever. That may very well be the key to defeating the big bad of this movie and freeing whatever spirits are trapped in the pizzeria. If that's the case, that also tells us that the FNAF movie sequel is going to be incorporating elements of both the games FNAF 2 and FNAF 3, combining
Which
elements
makes a
of
whole lot of
both
sense
into
now that
one
they've
story.
kind of established
See,
the
FNAF 3
universe
is not exactly the
with the
sort of
first one.
game that is easily adapted into an exciting film. It's just two characters alone in a building. But
There's only
at
like
the
one
end of
character
that
that can get
story,
you.
Mike burns down the pizzeria
Yeah.
to defeat Afton. That could be moved to the FNAF movie sequel, with Mike and Vanessa burning down Freddy's to release the
Which
spirits
is a good
and
way to
destroy any
incorporate the
remnant
third film
inside.
by
It
mixing
also
it with the
opens the
second
door
one.
for the series to immediately move on to a bigger adaptation of Sister Location as a way to finish off the movie series.
But how are they
All
gonna
while
explain
mixing
that
in
Afton had
elements of
another
FNAF 4's
location?
dream sequences as backstory, maybe for Garrett. Honestly, after sitting here and just thinking about it, that arc makes so much sense. And after spending just way too much time trying to figure out which one of these pages is real, I just can't imagine
Scott
a better
just
path
loves to drive
forward
them
for these
insane.
movies. But then again, Scott always manages to completely
Yeah.
pull the rug out from under us, revealing a new trapdoor and deeper levels to the
What
story
if he just
than we
mixed
could
up the
ever
page
imagine.
numbers?
So maybe
If
we'll
he did
never
that,
escape.
then
But
this is
hey,
all just thrown out the
that's
window.
just a theory. A film theory. And cut.
Okay.
If you want to see what other hints about FNAF 2 we get from the novelization of the first movie, go check out our theory all about that.
Okay. Also, definitely gotta watch that Bingle video. Also, what are you doing, Magic to Noah? What are you doing? Yeah, FNAF 2 movie. I don't know when it's gonna come out. I don't think they've started filming yet. I don't believe so. There's not a whole lot confirmed about it, I don't believe, other than these scripts. Like I said, if the page numbers were altered a little bit, or they're fake or whatever, then literally the theory thrown out the window. Any of them could work then. Because well, not technically any of them. There are some that still have issues. Like the whole military thing, I don't think they're going to incorporate the military unless they want to take it to that twist. But I don't think they would. I don't know if Scott would do that because he never took that direction in any of the games or books or anything. So it'd be weird for him to suddenly make that shift in the movies. Unless he want to do that to differentiate between the movies and the books and the games. I don't really know. Let me know what your opinion is of this theory and the film theory videos. And like I said, I'm doing Bending the Ink Machine right now. The theories for that should be back next Wednesday. Hopefully, I do read every single one of your comments, so leave them down below. I hope you're subscribed. We're less than 3,000 subscribers away from 100,000 subscribers. But I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day. But until next video, take care and cue the music.
We were playing